Has God ever brought something to your attention where you just know you were wrong? This just happened to me. I have a friend who is dealing with constant attack. As a friend, I have been angered by this. My focus became one of bitterness and wrath against the attacker. While wanting to protect my friend isn't wrong, I have to recognize where the attack comes from. My focus should remain on the Lord at all times, because the battle isn't against flesh and blood. If the devil can take one person down, how many people will that have an effect on? How many people will go down with him? The enemy in my story is the devil. In 1 Samuel, the enemy was the Philistine giant Goliath, and all of the Israelites feared him. The Israelites were promised great things if they could defeat Goliath, but everyone was afraid. I'm preparing for a presentation to a group of women next month, so I might expect to experience attack myself. And again, if the enemy can ruin my witness, how many people are coming down with me? If my heart is not in the right place, how can I have a witness? And how can I minister where God has called me to? So this morning, while studying the book of Samuel, it came to me. Most people know the story of David defeating Goliath, but they may not realize where it comes from, and they may not think much more about it than just a cartoon where this young David defeats a giant with a slingshot and a stone. Like I said, it's found in the book of 1 Samuel, and God used it this morning to reveal something to me. People didn't take David seriously because he was younger than all of his other brothers. While some of them served in the war against the Philistines, David was back home taking care of his father's sheep. But while he was caring for the sheep, he had to defend them against lions and bears, and he had to defeat them to keep the sheep safe. David's little victories against the lions and the bears, it gave him the confidence and the boldness to go up against Goliath, even though he didn't seem like a very likely candidate. While everyone feared Goliath, we read in chapter 17, "But the Lord said to Samuel, 'Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him.' The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." So David convinced Samuel he would be willing to go up against Goliath. And as he faced Goliath, this is what David said. David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." My message this morning is twofold. David, armed with his experiences and victories, knew what he was up against, but he also knew who was with him. The enemy's clever, but he can't outwit the Lord. I am just a person, but I have overcome much through the power of the Lord. He promises never to leave us or forsake us. I know the giant I'm coming up against. He is not my friend's attacker, but the enemy working through him. Instead of being angry with the attacker, I am praying for that person. I am praying for my friend, and I trust that the God of heaven's armies has already won this battle. Today, my prayer is for those I know who are like the Israelites, fighting a battle that has already been won. People can be filled with despair because they can't see the end result. But for those of us who have experienced victory, we are called to encourage and fight for those who are in the struggle. So my focus this morning has shifted from one of anger to one of humility before the Lord.